So we're going to talk about the XW series. This is the XW60. But before I talk about that, I just want to show you this quick brochure here. This is the new brochure on the new XWG3. You can't hardly see it. This is a brand new brochure they have. I saw this machine at the Jim Top show last month. And basically, it's replacing the XW30. So the XW30 that's the twin spindle. If you guys know the twin spindle, twin gang plate, spindles moving the Z-axis. Hey, who's ever talking, mute. So this is the new model. It's really exciting. It's got the new MITS control, the new 850 MITS, and it is, the loader's all integrated in. It's got a much larger opening here. So we'll talk about that another time. Also very fast loading, like 1.4 seconds load unload time. Fantastic machine. I saw it at the Gym Top. It's amazing. So again, small parts, small gang plates, but really accurate, beautiful little machine. So with that, let's get started. So this is the XW60. And all of these now I'm bringing in with the high-speed loader system. I don't know if John's got it set up with the high speed, but we'll show that to you. So let's start off talking about this. This machine is 825 spindles, 10 horsepower, and we can get it with as XW60 or XW60M live tool. So it's available with live tool turrets, full C-axis, or it's available just as static turrets and standard. So as with some of the other machines that you've seen, you can see how the part is loading down. I think I showed you that on Tuesday with the XT6. So one of the ways we achieve that faster loading is by coming down and doing it's going to unload, loading, and it takes this part here and drops it to the bottom so that we can go straight up and down. So the same theory that we talked about on Tuesday over at the XT6 as far as the loading. You want to show that? Okay, let's do that. Let's just take a moment and do that. We're just going to do a quick review here. So this loading system is actually a Takamaz patent. So Takamaz has the patent on this particular style of loading. So again, you've got here the unloader hand and the loader hand. And the reason you know that because we have the part pusher. So this is the part pusher. It's a cylinder that actually pushes the part against the work stop. And there's front and back sensors on it that if we have any kind of misloading, if we push it too far, we don't push it far enough, there's chips behind the chuck, it'll basically take care of any misloading because it'll stop the machine. Most of my competitors just use a spring, which has no confirmation of loading with just using a spring. So John's gonna kind of take us through the motions. So we're gonna come down. Now, John, we're gonna see how we've just kind of come right over the part. We're straddling the part. So we've got one of the grippers here. It's a 3-jaw gripper system. One gripper's here, one gripper's here, and it's basically straddling the part. So we don't have to come in and out. We can just come over here and straddle the part. Saves time. That saves us about a half a second for that. That's got to go fast. I got to get out of the way. Okay. You see what happened here, though? There's 2 cylinders here. One cylinder allows this hand to come down. There's a lot of actually cool features for that. One of them is we're using the system with a gauge or whatever, and we want to separate out the load on the other hand for interference issues. This allows us to do that as well. So it kind of have 2 different purposes. But in this particular case, it's bringing the part down. So it allows us now to come straight back up. Now, here's the other thing that it really helps you to do. With this kind of system, part length always becomes an issue because you've got facing chucks, no matter whose it is, whether it's ours or anybody else's. So how do we enable to load a longer part? The reason that we can do that is, another reason is because when this is down like this, you see the part is down here. If the part was not, if it was up there, you can see we have a part sticking out of the chuck. So back out a little bit. So for example, if I have a part sticking out of the chuck, in fact, let me get a part over here, John. Okay, quick illustration. Okay, quick illustration. So this part's in the chuck, right? So this is the part that we've unloaded. Now, if you've got a longer part and you've got another part that's unloaded, you can imagine we're gonna come and we're gonna hit that part. So on us enabling us to turn that down, it enables us to basically load longer parts, because now we're coming straight back up. we got control over that, so it's not going to hit this part that's in the chuck, allowing us to load longer parts than our competition can, as well as the feature of the fast loading system. So it has kind of two different purposes. So I'm going to let John continue on with that. Sorry, I'm asking John to do this on the fly, so he's got to kind of work things out here a little bit, but we'll go through that. So that's basically the loading and unloading. So you see it comes down, it unloads the part, come down, load the new part, make sure we're in position, and then we just come straight back up. You see that? It just came straight back up. We don't have to go in and out. So that really saves a lot of cycle time. Now let's talk about this. Can you pause it there, John? John is so awesome. Okay, this is the middle station turn device. I think we've talked about this many times. Another Takamaz patent. What this allows us to do, because we use this type of loading unloading hand, where the other guys are using a knuckle hand, right? They're unloading, air blowing, whatever, then they got to turn, and then they've got to come in and load like this, okay? It's kind of that's the system that everybody else uses. Takamaz has, again, their L loading system, which enables us on the middle station to do a pickup and a drop off at the same time. Now, if you look at all the other guys, what do they have? They have one station here. Can I put my hand in here? Okay. They have one station here and one station here. You look at all the competition. So what they have to do is, when they've got a finished op 10 part, they have to take the finished op 10 part and put it over here. Then they've got to slide the gantry over and pick up a turn part from over here before they can load it into the second chuck. That takes about 8 to 10 seconds for that whole process of moving, clamp, unclamp. Look at this. Look what we do. It's so awesome. Look at this. Because our loader hand and the unloader hand are in line with the turn device grippers, it allows us to actually pick up a turned part. So this is going to pick up a turned part. This is going to drop off a finished op 10 part at the same time. Again, saves us about 8 seconds of cycle time to do that. So if your parts are really fast cutting time, it can make a huge difference to your overall system tack time. So Takamaz incorporates this pickup theory, not just here, but also, come with me. We also like to do that over here. For example, if we can use, this is showing here the in-feed conveyor. Now we can use a stalker over here. We can use a tray changer, different types of material handling, bowl feeder. But again, let me talk to you about the pickup and drop off theory. So because those hands, so this is the loader hand and the unloader hand. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but here's the theory, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up a blank and drop off a finished part at the same time. The other guys can't do that. They have to go to one station and pick up a blank from a stalker or whatever, and then they have to go somewhere else and drop the finished part off because they don't have this L technology that Takamaz has. I hope everybody really gets that because—
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Can you show that turnaround station in action again? The one before.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me hold on. Let me just finish up here. We'll go back to there. Again, understanding there's two places that we save a huge amount of tack time over the competition. Again, the pickup and drop off technology of the turn device and the pickup and drop off system technology for the material handling. It's a huge point. So again, we're picking up a blank, we're dropping off a finished part here. Now, why do we have two outfeed conveyors here? Why? If you're doing a 10-10 operation, you want to find out which part came off which tool wear offset. This would come from spindle 1, this would come from spindle 2. If you're doing a 10-20 operation, you would just come out parts over here. Before I finish with this, oh, and let me show you this. This is our Y-turn device here. So you can see the parts are feeding down here in this particular. Because we're using a 3-jaw, we have to come over the part. So all the parts end up have to be oriented this way. So if they're coming down, standing up like a coffee cup, we can pick it directly up. If you want to feed the parts with a bowl feeder and they're laying down, no problem. We have this turn device that flips it up so that we can grab it with our 3-jaw. So let me just come back to the back here real quick before I do that. Come around to the back. So I'm at the back of the machine right now. And so this is the in-feed conveyor. So again, whenever we can, we like in-feed conveyors and a bowl feeder here or some type of material handling. Because if I can use a bowl feeder and it works for that, man, I can just dump the parts in there. I don't have to put them in a stocker. I don't have to worry about anything. We can orientate the parts many times through the bowl feeder. So if the parts lend themselves to a bowl, we do that. If they don't, we either look at a stocker. Like I told you on Tuesday, our bin picking. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, yesterday I had a customer come over here. We showed him that. He's sold already. He's like, okay, forget about the stockers. I don't want to do that anymore. Let's go to random bin picking. So it was a really exciting time. So back to this. So we've got the in-feed conveyor. You can see we have adjustable wing nuts here. So it's easy for changeover because I can easily move the guides in and out to adjust for the different part size, right? So very, very simple changeover for that. And again, with all the Takamaz machines now, I pretty much bring them in with these torquoid pumps, the high pressure pumps, about 300 PSI. It's kind of a combination between high pressure and because a lot of times we'll need volume to really get them chips out of there. And I also bring in most of the machines, if not all the machines now, with spindle through coolant. We option out air seating. So I bring them in standard with spindle through coolant and the torquoid pumps for both spindles. So let's go back. The one gentleman asked me about the flip device. So this is the turn device. You can see how this is going to work. We'll just video it there as John moves us forward. So you watch how that'll work. Let me get another sip of coffee here while they're doing that. I hope you guys have all had your coffee. Feel good. So again, you can see him straddling the part down there. Obviously, we're in slow motion here, but just kind of showing you the process. Did it turn, John? Oh, it already turned? Did you get it turning? No? Okay. Okay, guys, bear with me just 1 second so I can show this gentleman the. No, I already. Oh, you want to show it over there? Okay, let's go over there real quick. Okay, we're going to show you the pickup and drop off system here. So you don't have a finished part in there, but you can see. Stop there just for a second, John. So you can see he's picking up a blank, and he doesn't have a finished part in here. We'd be dropping off a finished part at the same time. Again, this is the at the same time theory that Takamaz incorporates everywhere. So again, that's that. Let's go back over now really quick and see if we can see the turn device moving. So there you're doing a pickup drop off same time. There, you see it turn? Very simple turn device. So Takamaz incorporates many different turn devices. In a moment, when we go over to the XW130, you'll absolutely see that. So maybe you can step back for just a moment here, and I'm going to give you kind of a wider view. So again, this is the XW60. So we have the new XWG3, which is basically that small gang plate twin spindle, kind of smaller model with small air chucks up to maybe up to 30, 40 millimeter diameter on that. And then we move up to the XW60, which is the 6-inch chuck size machine. And then we move over to, in a moment, I'll go over to the chuck twin spindle. And then we have the XW200 and XW210, which are the 10-inch chuck machines. So this is the XW60. Next thing I want to show you is the shuttle device. So this is, many times, as I think I talked about this on Tuesday, that we like to do a lot of connections. So for example, if the volume cooperates with doing the milling, if you've got a part that has milling and the volume is such that, then using a Takamaz machine with live tools makes sense. For example, if you've got a lot of milling to it though, you want to separate out the turning and the milling. Always the difficulty with doing that is automating the machining center. And how to get the parts over to the machining center is always a struggle, right? So we have the MECTRON line. So the MECTRON line, what is MECTRON very quickly? MECTRON is a 30 and 40 taper Japanese machine tool maker. Back in the 80s, they supplied all the TSV series 30 taper drill taps to Miyano. Those guys separated many, many years ago, and we've been marketing now the MECTRON for the North America for quite some time. The thing that we like about, one of the things we like about the MECTRON is that they have their own built-in loader. So, and gantry rail. So it travels through the machine. So everybody else kind of would have a robot out here and you'd have some material handling and then you'd have the robot come in and load and unload. That. So that loader that you see is like a Takamaz, right? They integrate the loader into the machining center. So what we've got here is we're doing the turning on the XW60, and then we have a standard shuttle device. Now we keep these in stock, these shuttle devices, a very, very simple shuttle device. Come on over here and I'll show you. So what we're doing over here, and if you can see this here, we're dropping the part off from the turning, and you'll see how that shuttle device is kind of just very simple cylinder that drives the part over, got a part present, tells us that we're there, and then we're loading it directly over to the MECTRON. So MECTRON has a variety of different 30 and 40 taper machining centers. You can see this one has a pallet changer. We kind of like this particular model because the pallet changer, because most of the time we find out that the turning is a lot shorter cycle time than the milling. So many times to try and have a balance, if you want to connect them like this and you want to balance out your cycle time, many times having a pallet changer on the machining center is very helpful in order to try and accomplish that. So let me just show you this real quick. Stay there, I'll be right back. I actually brought some papers with me this time. So just to give you, this is the kind of the MECTRON general catalog. Just to give you an example, MECTRON has a complete line of machining centers, not just this one. 30, 40 taper. We normally stock the 40 taper machines. I can give this catalog anyone. You can see they have many models that have the integrated loader. And we talked, you might have seen this one at the show. This is the 3-inch bar machine here. You can do 6 sides of the part, includes its own bar feeder. This is a very, very exciting machine. We're doing very, very, very well with this machine. And at the, I think I may have sent you guys some videos at the Gym Top, they actually introduced this model with 3,000 RPM turning. So not only can you do 5-phase machining, you can also do turning with this up to 3,000 RPM. So we're really about that. I just want to show you that really quickly. So this is the MTS-C420. I brought this to kind of help me out here a little bit. 10,000 RPM. It's got a 12-station tool changer, 15 horsepower, Fanuc controls. And let me tell you here what's included with this. So what we're going to do here in just a moment, I think he's showing you some of the process on it. And what we're going to do very quickly is, in a moment, we'll just stop the machine so I can kind of open it up and show you what's kind of included with the machine. But again, MECTRON is a very, very good builder. Japanese, they got a close relationship actually with Takamaz. So the system between the two of them is really works very, very well. They help us a lot with that. So he's just going to turn this off. But you see how the gantry here moves over? So you can see here, we've got basically, you've got, and then we shuttle the part over and then load into this chuck here. You can put any fixtures that you want on the table, of course. If you want to have multiple fixtures, you can do that. And then we can just continue to load to the fixtures on this pallet, and then the pallet changes. And then we're machining over there while we're loading over here. And then it's got an extended gantry rail. The finished parts are coming out here, and then we just got them coming here out and out, dropping down into a bucket. Now, these MECTRONs, we sell these also as standalone. We sell these as standalone as well. If you say, well, listen, I don't want to connect it to a Takamaz, no problem. Sell this as a standalone machine. And over here, for example, we could put a stalker, tray changer, conveyor, so any type of material handling. I always bring these in as you see them with extended rail. So I can sell them as a connected machine. I can sell them as a standard. We have the stalkers, conveyors, to sell them as a standalone machine as well. And the nice thing is, you may want to use it for a standalone. At some point, the customer might say, hey, listen, I've got a job where I want to connect it to the turning. Very simple. It's multi-purpose. You can take this over and drop it into a turning machine for secondary work on doing all the milling work. So it's very, very flexible machine. And we're just excited. You can see the gantry moves very quickly, do a load, unload on the gantry. And the quality, we sold a number of these, the quality is really great. All Japanese made. MECTRON's been in business for, I don't know, 100 years or something. So they're a great company, great to work with. So let me, before we move on from this, I just went, maybe we can stop the machine, and so bear with us just 1 second. It's just stop. I just want to show you the inside of the machine very briefly before we move on. So one thing that's included, so this machine, basically, it's about $180,000 for this machine roughly. And of course, includes everything that you're seeing, the gantry with the 3-jaw gripper hands. Also includes air seating. So we bring the machine in with air seating. We're stopped? Okay, good deal. So we can open up the side. Okay, so here's the inside of the machine. One of the nice things that they do is they've got a lot of different coolants. We've got bed flush coolant, got the kind of a shower coolant. So there's coolant kind of everywhere. The other thing it's included here is spindle through coolant device is included. We bring it in like that. We also bring it in, as I mentioned, with air seating, and hydraulics are plumbed through the joint here, as you can, well, this is air, but the hydraulics are also plumbed in here for hydraulic chucking as well. Tool chucks are not included in that price, but everything else is included. 40 taper, was it BBT 40? BBT 40, BBT 40 taper. So with that, let's move on to the XW. Oh, you want to go to this one? Okay. Okay, so I'll go over to the XW130 in a moment. John wants to do something here. Let me put this down. I'll be right back. John's the XTT500. So let's switch our minds for a moment and let's talk a little bit about shaft loading. So Takamaz has a few shaft loading machines. Now they also have, for example, even parts. If you say my shaft is like 6 inch long or something, we can even just go to an XT6 single spindle, single turret with a tailstock, really good price. And we can load short parts, auto load short parts to a tailstock. Say, wait a minute, longer parts, 15, 20 inches long. The XTT500 can load up to about 20 inches part length into the machine. So you can see here the way this XTT500 is designed, upper and lower turrets, so we can do kind of pinch turning and what have you. It also has a programmable steady rest, which is really nice because now you can engage the lower turret. A lot of other makers, as you know, in order to use a steady rest, they actually put the steady rest onto the lower turret, so it kind of disables your lower turret. But Takamaz has a built-in programmable, so the movements all programmable. You can program that movement anywhere you want. And so we can do all turning on here. So we could use a face driver in the spindle, and it has also included a built-in servo-driven tailstock. So the tailstock is actually programmable. You can see it over there. I don't want to put my hand in there. I think it's MT4, but it's the bearings are built into the whole tailstock. So it's a very, very rigid tailstock. And as you can, the tailstock actually works on its own slide. So it actually slides in. So it's a very, very rigid system. You might note the loader and unloader hands. They're kind of staggered like this. So back just a second. So you see that they're staggered in this fashion here. Why is that? Basically because on longer shafts, we want to basically avoid, so if we're doing the loading, we basically want to try to avoid the chuck. So that allows us to have a part in here and loading a part and give us more space here where we're not going to hit anything. So that's why they go to this type of staggered design, the load, for the load and the unload hands. Now, you'll also notice over here, I'm not going to get too close to this. We got the guarding off, what have you, just to show you. But again, I like to bring them in with extended gantry rail, because the extended gantry rail allows us to be very, very flexible. I can connect it to another machine. I can put a lot of times we'll use what Takamaz calls a V-block stalker, shaft stalker like this, that allows for parts to be put into like shaft longer parts, so kind of a V-block stalker, and then the gantry will pick it up right from the stalker. So typically this, we wouldn't use a kind of a station stalker, we would use kind of a V-block, or some people call it a walking beam type of stalker. So that's the type of design we would use for here. And then on the outfeed parts, we could put conveyor or another, that type of stalker, or gauging system or what have you, because, oh yeah, okay. My boss is telling me don't put my fingers in there, yeah. So anyway, very, very flexible machine. Boxway, again, 2 turret, tailstock, steady rest. Now we have one more machine, a larger one than the XTT500. It's called the XS700. 700 millimeters, so it's about 27 inches shaft length. So gun barrels or what have you, you can do with that. Big horsepower, can handle longer parts and heavier parts as well. So Takamaz has now a number of gantry loaders that they can put on. We can get a smaller machine, and if you've got a really heavy part, Takamaz can put on a bigger gantry. So they have quite a bit of different capabilities now relative to the different gantries that they can provide. So again, that's our shaft loading machines. Again, to review, right from an XT6, the smaller machines for like smaller shaft, up to maybe 6-inch part length. With tailstock, I keep the XT6T in stock. And then we go to our actual shaft loading machines, again, the XTT500, and then we have the XS700 for up to about 27 inches long part. So with that, let's move on to the XW130. John tells me he's ready, so we're excited. So quick review on our XW series. So I mentioned the XWG3, which is the small machine, 8,000 RPM, even up to 10,000 RPM. Twin gang plate, that's that machine. And then we move up to the XW60, which is the 6-inch chuck twin spindle machine. Now we move up to the 8-inch chuck machine. So we have 2 models on the 8-inch chuck machine twin, the XW130, and this one is the XW130M milling. So this one includes 10 station turrets live at every station. A26 spindles, 15 horsepower, incorporates this. Now this machine, we can go up to about 150 millimeter part size with this. So about 6-inch part diameter. If you need to go over 6-inch, then we go up to the XW200, which goes up to about 9 inches part diameter on the XW200. So let's talk about this one a little. So the XW130, again, box on box way. I'll show you that in just a moment. I typically bring them in with the stalkers. So we bring them in with the 16 station stalkers. Again, extended gantry rail so that you can put the stalker on the left, you can put the stalker on the right, either way. Again, the nice thing about the stalkers is there's a screw here, just loosen the screw, it's on a cam, allows us to basically open and close the guides to accept different parts. Again, I'm finding some customers that don't want the labor to actually have to put the parts in a stalker or adjust the poles. Back to bin picking. That's a definite option if they don't like the labor involved in putting parts in a stalker. Never used, it's an issue now. Finding so many customers that really are looking to how to reduce every aspect of the automation, material handling, probing, different things in order to reduce the amount of labor content or input into the machine. So back to this. So you can see here, the turn device incorporates the same technology as the XW60. It's just the XW60 turn device is a little bit different, where it flips. You saw it flip like this. That as far as using the load hand and the unload hand, you can see there, it's doing that same theory, pick up, drop off, same time. So we incorporate that same theory, which gives us a very, very fast cycle time. Now you can see here how that's turning the part. There's no part in it right now, but that's how we flip the part. So that's all happening, of course, simultaneously while we're doing the cutting, operations. So again, we offer this XW30 with static turret or XW130M live tool turrets. And again, you can see, I didn't mention it before, but one thing I want you to notice is, with automation, chip management is absolutely everything. Chip control, because you don't have the opportunity for an operator to blow off chips. So we have to make sure that the process that we include is really bulletproof relative to any kind of chip problems. So some of the things Takamaz does, you can see here that we have air. Can I put my hand in here? Okay. This is air, and this is kind of a flood coolant. So we have this right at the chuck area here. That's going to get rid of any kind of chips into this area here. And we can use air or coolant here. I also bring the machine standing with spindle through coolant, which is basically tubing that comes through the spindle. And then we use kind of an orifice or a stopper to basically disperse that coolant to get any chips out of here. I also have the M code switching to the high pressure coolant to the turret as well. We can also have or air at the turret in order to help get any kind of chips off of the tools in this area here. The other thing I want to bring your attention to also is look at this wide area here. There's nothing that's going to obstruct chips from coming down into the chip conveyor. Another great design by Takamaz, having a nice wide open area so that the chips aren't going to build up in here. They go straight down into the chip conveyor, which then takes the chips out to the back of the machine. So with that, let's move around. Again, I talked to you again, extended loader gantry rail. Stalker on the left, stalker on the right. One thing that's good about that as well, if you get a customer that they buy two machines and they want mirror image, maybe they want to have all the raw material coming from here and the finished material coming here. They want to have one machine here. They want to have another machine here. So the extended rail allows you to have, for example, on this one, if I wanted the stalker on the right, this one I could put the stalker on the left and have all the blank work coming into here and here and dropping over here. So again, ergonomically and also labor aspect of it and material flow, these are aspects that we consider very carefully, and that's again with the extended gantry rail allows you to do that. Or we can put a gauge over here, we can put a conveyor, whatever you want to do. So the finished parts, we can drop the finished parts over here, or if you want, we can drop the finished parts back into the stalker, or we can add an outshoot and bring the finished parts to the outshoot here. Oh, one more thing. Come on over here. I forgot. So I don't know whether you can see this or not. John's not here with his flashlight. Here comes John with his flashlight. Again, I want to emphasize the construction of Takamaz. The absolute rigidity of the machines is amazing. You can see that's a very wide saddle box on box way design that Takamaz incorporates. Very, very rigid. Hand scraped, diamond lapped, no turkite, very, 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 very rigid. And let me show you this as well. Sorry, this is over here. Let me move this for a second. So let's talk about this. Watch your head. This is the Takamaz. So let's talk about this a moment. So you've got the two spindles, you've got the two turrets. You've got hydraulic lines feeding into the turrets. You've got a lot of heat generated into this general area of the two spindles and the two turrets. So thermal growth has never been an issue with Takamaz, but one of the ways that Takamaz uses thermal growth is in the bed of the machine, just below where the spindles are, just in that bed of the machine, we circulate coolant. So this is the coolant tank and this is the radiator here. So think about this theory like your car engine block. How do we keep the engine block cool? They circulate coolant into the casting or base of the engine block. Same theory here. So we're able to hold a very constant temperature, which manages thermal growth like amazing. And the other good news about this is that, for example, if the operator goes to lunch or something, as long as the machine is powered on, we're going to continue to circulate that coolant in the bed. So when the operator comes back, he doesn't have to do a warm-up cycle in order to get size back. So we're able to hold the size perfectly using this system. So this is included on XW60, XW130, XW200, all the XW series. It's included. And we have some options on the new XT6 on the single spindles as well for that type of coolant system. So with that, what's the time, John? Oh, good. Okay, I'm way ahead of schedule. Okay, now, this is what I'm really, really excited about. I'm excited about a lot of things, but let me tell you this. But first, let me just explain one thing. So up till now, Takamaz has had their own loader PLC, which is, this is the current style for Takamaz. They have their own loader teach pendant and so on. It's really great. It's easy for operators to use and so on. But Takamaz is now transitioning to something that's really, really exciting. So this is the fan of control. It's the new zero ITFO. First, let me tell you about the machine really quickly. So this is the new XT8MY machine. It is it's got Y-axis, standard BMT 55. I think it's 20 horsepower without checking. I think it's 20 horsepower HU6 with loader. Again, box on box way machine with loader. And so I can do it loader like this. And you can see this one has in and out feed conveyors. So I can use it with in and out feed conveyors. I can also put a stalker on here, different types of material handling. This one I got it with the in and out feed conveyor. So again, Y-axis. So this is single turret, live tool, Y-axis, box way machine. But now for the really cool part.